Lionel Reeves limped through the sliding doors of the shell on Oakwood, his carbon fiber prosthetic ticking against linoleum. He wanted coffee and gum. 10 minutes later, he'd be bleeding in the lot while Officer Nathan Crow holstered smoke. Crow didn't realize Lionel wasn't just another disabled vet. He was Sergeant First Class Lionel Reeves, 42, former commander of Delta Force Team Viper, legendary at close quarters work. And Viper never abandons a brother. If truth moves you, subscribe. The fluorescents buzzed as Lionel reached the coffee urns. Tuesday, 9:47 p.m., Milbrook nearly asleep. A bored teen clerk scrolled behind bulletproof glass. Lionel had made this same stop for months. Routine anchors after years in shadows and deserts. Home again in Milbrook. Coffee, sometimes a paper, occasional lottery ticket for his sister Clarissa. Ritual steadied him after 15 years of service. The prosthetic, titanium, and carbon cost the VA more than a sedan, but gave him stride. He'd trained that gait until most folks missed the limb, unless watching closely. Normalcy took sweat. An IED outside Kandahar 4 years earlier took his left leg below the knee. Every day since, he fought for ordinary, like a mission. He filled a medium cup with dark roast, aroma cutting through gas fumes and pine deodorizer. Outside, his immaculate black F-150 idled at pump 3. Old habits, everything squared away, maintained, ready. He glanced, thinking of Kinsey's 9th birthday. The door chime pinged. A uniform stepped in. Something in the man's movement prickled Lionel's training. Awareness without panic. After special operations, he could read intent in posture and hands. This officer hunted trouble the way sharks scent copper. Officer Nathan Crow's shift dragged useless stops, a barking dog dispute, and the late tour in the wrong part of town. 38, 8 years on Milbrook Police. He'd built rigid, ugly beliefs about authority, belonging, and who needed correcting. He saw Lionel and felt that familiar tightening, bias disguised as vigilance. A black man, late, moving slow, narrative engaged, suspicious, justify the stop, control the scene. The prosthetic read as weakness to him, not sacrifice or grit. He'd never led men under fire, earned Bronze Stars, a Purple Heart, or a Distinguished Service Cross. He'd never decided life and death overseas. All Crow saw was someone he assumed he could dominate without consequence, paperwork already scripted. Lionel capped his coffee and grabbed spearmint. The stare wasn't new. Black men learn the choreography early, hands visible, voice even, movements deliberate, answer succinctly. 37 became 42, but the rules never changed, only the stakes. He headed for the register, prosthetic clicking softly. Crow moved with a command voice, sharpened for guilt already decided. Hold up! Need to talk. Lionel turned slowly, coffee in left hand, gum in right, every item displayed like evidence. Yes, officer. What are you doing here? The air thickened. Not what are you buying, but why do you exist in this space? Coffee and gum. Facts only. Crow stepped closer, hand near his belt. You live around here? Yes, sir. 6 blocks. Elm Street ID. Back pocket. Lionel set the coffee down, moved like a demo video. No surprises, no speed. He'd run this drill for decades. Crow took the license without looking, eyes glued to Lionel. Been drinking? No, sir. Drugs? Weapons? No, sir. Turn around. Hands on the shelf. The teen behind the glass paused his phone, eyes widening. The corner camera watched, blinking red. Lionel hesitated, dignity catching before obedience swallowed. That flicker of pause was enough. I said turn. Crow's tone climbed. His palm kissed the pistol grip. Lionel turned, set hands on metal. I'm just buying coffee. You don't decide right and wrong, Crow snapped, pat down escalating. The search was theater and humiliation, rough, invasive, louder than any alarm. Crow found nothing but wallet, keys, phone, saw only a calm man who'd served without demands. No contraband, no threat. only a human wanting unremarkable night. Nothing only deepened Crow's irritation. He'd staked dominance and needed proof. What's with the leg? Prosthetic. Combat injury. I'm a disabled veteran. Prove it. Lionel rolled the pant leg, revealing the gleam of titanium and carbon weave. Compassion should have entered then. Instead, Crow tapped the limb with his baton. How do I know you're not hiding something inside? Lionel's jaw flexed. 15 years deployed, and this moment felt more dangerous. Predation searching for pretext. It's medical hardware, officer. Nothing to hide. I'll decide that. Sit. Floor Lionel glanced at the grime, the clerk's phone now angled discreetly. The camera watched everything. He'd made split-second calls that saved lives. Here, humiliation reigned. He lowered himself, awkward with the prosthetic. Cold linoleum stuck to his palms. I'm Lionel Reeves, 2047 Elm Street, retired Army Sergeant. I'm not a threat. Shut it, Crow barked. Don't define yourself to me. The teen kept filming. Crow's shadow fell like a stain. You think a fake leg buys you special? In Lionel's gaze lived the quiet assessment learned under fire. Threat versus bully. I think I can buy coffee without being treated like a suspect, he answered. The words should have closed it. Instead, something ugly ignited in Crow. Attitude problem. Up Lionel rose carefully, prosthetic demanding leverage and time. Faster. This is as fast as I go. Impatience wired to malice sparked again. Hands behind your back. For what charge? Resisting. I haven't resisted. You're doing it now. Lionel complied. Every path ended badly. Live tonight, complain tomorrow. The radio crackled. Domestic disturbance. A real call. An exit ramp. Unit 207 responding, Crow said, looking disappointed he'd lose his canvas. He pointed at Lionel. This isn't over. Watch your attitude, Lionel. I just want to pay and go. Crow left, leaving adrenaline and shredded dignity behind. The teen buzzed Lionel to pay. You okay, man? I'm fine. They both knew he wasn't. Phone buzz. Clarissa, Kenzie can't wait for Saturday. He smiled. Kids still believed good wins. He wanted to preserve that little universe. He sat in the truck, breathing steady. Inside, the teen showed customers his screen. Upload in progress. Viral by morning, forgotten by afternoon, he thought. Another shrug at ordinary racism. He started the engine, turned toward home, and quiet. Crow had already dialed another idea. A masked voice from a burner reported a suspicious black truck leaving the shell, same plate as Lionel's. Aggressive driver, uncooperative inside. Crow learned the trick. Create cause, answer your call. 3 blocks from home, red and blue washed Lionel's mirrors. He pulled over, hands atop the wheel, engine cut. Ritual every black parent teaches. Visible palms, slow movements, yes sir cadence. Live to tell the story later, if luck helps. Crow approached with weapon low. Engine off. Step out. What's the problem? Report of a suspicious vehicle. Suspicious how? Threatened a clerk. Ice slid down Lionel's spine. The kid had been kind. Crow needed a lie, had one. That's not what happened. Calling me a liar? I think there's a misunderstanding. Turn around. Hands back Lionel did, mind mapping futures. He was 3 blocks from family. Complaints could be filed. Lawyers existed. Survive the moment. As the cuffs came out, certainty arrived. Mortality breathing hot on his neck. Officer, I'm a disabled veteran. I'm not a threat. You should have thought of that before threatening a clerk. Crow yanked Lionel's arm. Balance faltered. Prosthetic lagged. Lionel braced against the truck. Stop resisting. I'm not. I lost my balance. Stop resisting. A knee hammered his back. Metal kissed his cheek. He tasted blood. Please, he said, voice somehow steady. You're hurting me. You should have complied. Instinct corrected his stance to protect the compromised leg. Small shift. Pure survival. Crow announced for the dark. He's going for my weapon. Lionel's hands were pinned. He hadn't moved for a gun. Truth wouldn't matter tonight, only narrative. No. Lionel turned his head slightly. The first round punched below his right shoulder blade, twisting him. He saw Crow's satisfied face in the muzzle flash. A chest shot dropped him. The third came as he met indifferent stars. Lionel died thinking of Kenzie's cake and whether Clarissa would understand absence. Crow radioed, shots fired. Officer involved. Suspect down. Need medical sirens climbed as Crow assembled phrases juries swallow. Reached for weapon. Feared for life. Justified. Crow didn't notice Lionel's phone trigger. A Viper failsafe. GPS. Biometrics. A priority ping to 6 numbers and spread across the country. He didn't know Lionel Reeves wasn't merely a casualty. Somewhere, the Brotherhood was already moving toward Pennsylvania. Captain Adrian Wolfe, 45 in Seattle, reviewing a private security brief, heard a tone he hadn't in 2 years. The Viper emergency. Coordinates. Biometric flatline. Milbrook, Pennsylvania. Source. Reeves. The mug shattered. 3 heartbeats to acceptance, then motion. Go bag, weapons check. First flight east. Notify the team. In Virginia, Beach, Staff Sergeant. Cole Darnell, 47, soldering a tablet, froze as the alert hit. Viper's comms wizard processed the numbers, closed shop, called favors, and started driving. 20 minutes later, Wolf called. You see it? I see it. Intel? Only coordinates and vitals? I'm booking Philly. You? Already en route. Good. Wake the others in Colorado Springs, Master Sergeant. Javier Morales coached his daughter's tire change. The ping cut through domestic bliss. He looked at the phone, then Maria's proud, greasy grin. Sweetheart, inside. Now, tone made compliance immediate. Sarah, to his wife, I have to go. How long? A week, maybe more. It's Lionel. He'd never explained the protocol, but Sarah knew the bonds. Yes. She kissed him and started packing. Some promises outlast uniforms. In Tampa, Sergeant Quentin Banks, 45, driving home from a port shift, exhaled like a man finally understanding purpose. Civilian life had wobbled beneath him. The alert hurt and steadied. He U-turned toward the airport, quitting by phone mid-drive. Employment could wait. Lionel had never failed them. 20 minutes later. You on it? Wolf asked. 2 hours. Tickets booked Jordan or Stefan. Working on it. In Austin, specialist Jordan Kane, 43, surrounded by towers and screens, sliced straight into the data. He pivoted from code audits to crisis mode, mapping Lionel's last digital footsteps with surgical speed. Minutes later, Jordan had Milbrook dispatch open, listening to the officer-involved shooting call. Crow's cadence sounded practiced, a lie that anticipated doubts. Wolf rang. You hearing this? Hearing it. And we've got a problem. What kind? Murder. Dressed official. In Denver, Warrant Officer Stephen Brooke, 44, watching his nephew's basketball game, stood so fast popcorn flew. You okay? His sister asked. I have to go. Game's not over. I have to go now, Wolf called. You saw it? I'm moving. By midnight, 6 men converged on the same destination, Philadelphia. Each brought their version of Lionel, steady in firefights, unshakable under pressure, pulling wounded while bleeding, refusing evac, humor during dust storms, the heart of Viper's improbable courage. Wolf spread a map, shell station, police headquarters, route. Jordan? Lionel shot at approximately 10:15 p.m. by Officer Nathan Crow. Official line reached for the gun during a stop. Bull. Total bull, Jordan said. Comms showed damage control already. Stefan leaned forward. Seen. Pronounced at 10:47, Jordan said. Crow uninjured. No defensive wounds on Lionel. Nothing indicating he touched Crow's weapon. Javier eyed the grid. Cameras. Full coverage inside shell, Jordan said. Stop. Happened outside coverage. Working traffic feeds now, Jordan added. Wolf looked around. These men had followed him into hell. He needed them again. We find what happened. We gather proof. We make sure truth survives. Then what? Cole asked. Wolf's eyes were hard steel. Then we make justice unavoidable. It wasn't revenge, though revenge felt earned. It wasn't vigilante fantasy, though the system had already failed. It was duty, to vows made where only vows withstand chaos. The coffee cooled, their planning heated. Crow, 40 miles away, filed statements with men inclined to believe him. He pictured commendations and weekends and another shooting, sinking into machinery designed to protect badges. He didn't know Team Viper was treating Milbrook like an operation. Daylight made Oakwood's shell look benign. Jordan saw a crime scene, laptop bag, cover story ready. Commonwealth Insurance, he told the teen clerk. Marcus, behind glass. Need interior footage for a liability review. Cops took copies. We need ours. Marcus hesitated, then buzzed him into the back. The system was standard digital, Jordan's playground. He pulled last night's files, copying to an encrypted drive while chatting. On screen, Lionel's calm, Crow's predatory posture, escalation, humiliation, and critically audio every word. Lionel courteous, Crow escalating. No threat, no provocation, evidence that punctured the script. Picture's solid, Jordan said casually, ejecting the drive. Thanks. You'll help the report 3 miles away. Javier nursed coffee across from the brick police building. Binoculars disguised as a camera lens mapped entrances, cameras, patterns. 2 doors, 70s brick, renovated but old bones. Patrol lot offsets. 12 officers came and went in 2 hours. At 11:30, Crow emerged, swaggering like nobody could touch him. Javier shadowed at distance to a diner. Crow met 2 officers. Body language, celebration disguised as lunch. Plates, laughter, slaps. Javier photographed plates, sent them to Jordan. Back at a motel rented under a false name, Cole built a net. Receivers and software sprouted like a black bag garden. Eyes on the station, he reported. Full spectrum. Radio, cells, traffic. If they try to scrub or intimidate, we'll hear the ripples. Stefan called EMS friends. Whispers traveled through paramedic corridors. Crew says Lionel was already gone, Stefan said at the regroup, but they saw 3 wounds, back, chest, and a contact shot to the head. Wolf looked up sharply. Contact? Gun to skin, Captain. Crow's report only mentions 2 rounds. Third shot doesn't fit self-defense, Wolf said. Murder, not mistake. The room cooled. Lionel wasn't just killed. He was executed. Quentin's voice stayed low. Why escalate to lethal right then? Maybe Lionel said something, Javier offered. Jordan pulled another thread. Maybe Crow never intended to leave him breathing. He opened phone records. At 10:12, 3 minutes before shots, Crow called a number registered to one Billy Hutchkins. Who's Hutchkins? Wolf asked. Small-time dealer. Police informant. Hutchkins gets arrested often, serves little time, Jordan continued. Cole glanced up. Staging drugs? Or a weapon? Or a helpful witness narrative, Jordan said. Stefan exhaled through his teeth. Plant a story. Kill the man. Collect a commendation. Lionel died too fast, Wolf said. Crow shot before the prop arrived. Clean victim, dirty story. The puzzle connected. They needed proof that could survive court and public glare. Witnesses, Wolf decided. Jordan, plates from traffic. Xavier, canvas. Already pulling plates, Jordan said. 6 vehicles passed through between 10:10 and 10:20. Cole, Wolf added, stay on their comms. Any signal of evidence disappearing, we move, copy. Stefan, autopsy as soon as possible. We need contradictions. The team scattered, carrying grief like a sharpening stone. They'd run operations in worse places. The difference now, the enemy wore patches, reading protect and serve. Wolf and Quentin steered toward Elm Street, where Clarissa waited with unanswered questions. Wolf introduced himself as Lionel's captain. This is Quentin, a brother from our unit. We're sorry Clarissa let them in. Grief made the air heavy. Neighbors' flowers, covered dishes, phones buzzing with condolences that floated, never landing. Can I ask something? She said, eyes like Lionel's. Did he mention trouble with police? What kind? Wolf asked. Worried? He avoided confrontation, she said. He was careful. The story the detective told me doesn't fit the man I knew. What did they say? Quentin asked softly. Detective Williams said suspicious behavior, belligerent, aggressive. Crow feared for his life. Clarissa's voice stiffened. I've known Lionel 42 years. He didn't behave like that. He was disciplined. Wolf leaned forward. We will find what really happened. Not with them, she interrupted. Are you working with the police? No, ma'am, for Lionel. She studied their faces and nodded. He said you were family. Make sure they answer for this. As they left, phones buzzed updates. Jordan found 3 possible witnesses from traffic. Cole intercepted chatter about unusual evidence processing. Javier met a neighbor who saw Crow stand over Lionel for minutes before calling backup. Stefan secured preliminary autopsy pages. 3 gunshots confirmed. Powder burns consistent with contact head wound. It contradicted Crow's official filing. The team reconvened, covering tables with printouts and lines. The picture sharpened. Murder kinked into bureaucracy. Next move, Quentin asked. Pressure, Wolf said. We've got smoke and flame. We force accountability outside. Night gathered. Crow finished shift, confident the gears would grind descent to powder. He didn't know the reconnaissance phase had ended. Operation Viper Milbrook was live. Jordan's fingers flew past midnight. He dove into records the public never sees. Captain, look. 5 years of incidents bloomed. Crow has a trail. 18 months ago, Marcus Williams, 24, black, paralyzed after an alleged gun grab. No charges against Crow, Jordan said. Next, Darius Johnson, 19, died in custody. Report says fell downstairs. Medical shows blunt trauma consistent with beating. No charges. Third, Terrence Brown, 31, wrong address raid, unarmed, pajamas, reaching for ID, Jordan said. Crow shot 4 times. Justified Stefan whispered, God. Jordan kept scrolling. 6 incidents in 5 years where Crow's primary. All black men, every case justified. Victims always non-compliant. Internal affairs? Cole asked. Perfunctory, at best, Jordan said. Same investigator repeatedly, Lieutenant James Morrison, Crow's former training partner and golf buddy. Javier shook his head. Not one bad apple. An orchard irrigated with impunity. Exactly, Wolf said. Jordan, keep digging. I want the victims' families, outcomes, patterns. There's more, Jordan said, opening another pane. I cracked their internal group chat. Crow and 5 others call themselves the Cleaners. Read this. Messages scrolled like rot. Crow. Another one bites the dust. Streets cleaner. Officer Martinez. Drinks tomorrow. Officer Stevens. Quota. Crow. What quality? Over quantity. Month after month, gallows humor about bodies, betting pools on justified shootings. They treat murder like sport, Quentin said, anger tight. Because the system shields them, Wolf replied. Stefan looked at Lionel's autopsy photo, jaw rigid. Lionel wasn't sport. He was family Wolf. And he'll be the last they take. Jordan traced money. Crow's accounts show cash deposits, 5 grand monthly, 2 years straight, always day after a justified shooting. Cole frowned. Paid for bodies. Looks like it, Jordan said. Check the overlay. He mapped neighborhoods and projects. Every victim's block sat inside renewal zones. After each death, property quietly changed hands. Development plans advanced. Ethnic cleansing by spreadsheet, Stefan said. Police violence as real estate tactic, Wolf added. Diabolical, efficient, deniable. Owners of Milbrook Renaissance LLC appeared. Mayor Patrice Hawthorne, 30%. Police Chief Harold Whitman, 20. Developers Malcolm Fleming and Daniel Shen split the rest. 50 million projected over 5 years. if longtime residents disappeared on schedule. So Lionel died because condos pencil better, Cole muttered. Lionel died because bias met opportunity, Wolf said. Javier returned from canvassing. Neighbors regurgitated the pattern. Harassment spikes, then a death, then offers to sell. Questioners get friendly visits. Terrorism with badges, Quentin said. Stefan added medical rot. Same examiner in previous cases. Language massaging contradictions away. Darius, defensive wounds ignored. Terence, shot in back while complying. Marcus, hands up when shot, yet report, blesses Crow. Wolf stared out at sleeping streets, citizens oblivious their guardian's moonlit as a criminal enterprise. Scope stunned him. It's not only Lionel now, he said. It's every victim, every family these people crushed to expand their portfolios. Plan? Quentin asked. Burn it down, Wolf answered. Not with matches, with evidence, exposure, protection for witnesses, and pressure no official can shrug. Cole interrupted. Comms, Spike. They're talking outside agitators, asking questions. Extra patrols authorized Jordan pulled traffic footage. Unmarked, past our motel thrice. We're burned. Wolf, pack it. Move to Site Bravo. As gear vanished into cases, an unknown number rang. Wolf. Captain Wolf, Detective Mariah Ellison, Milbrook PD. We need to talk. Jordan signaled he was tracing. Wolf kept neutral. About? Truth. Lionel Reeves was murdered by Crow. They'll kill you if you keep digging. Tell me something new. Meet me, Eastside Riverside Park, 1 hour. Come alone. How do I know it's not a trap? If I wanted you bagged, Crow would already be at your door. The line died. Jordan frowned. Burner downtown. Can't pin precise, legit, or lure, Wolf asked. Could be either, Javier said. Quentin scowled. We need to know, Wolf decided. Quentin, with me. Others moved to Bravo. If we don't return, continue, Roger, Stefan said, concern sketching his face. An hour later, they entered the park from opposite angles, using darkness like camouflage. A single silhouette sat riverside. Black woman, 30s, posture of someone trained to see threats. Wolf approached. Quentin covered from 50 meters. Detective Ellison? She looked up, intelligent eyes rimmed by exhaustion. Captain Wolf. Thank you for coming. Talk. Crow murdered Lionel. The department's covering it. If you keep cutting their curtains, they'll shoot you too. We know. Tell me something useful. Crow and 5 others have 8 bodies in 5 years, targeted neighborhoods, coordinated top-down. Why tell me? Wolf asked. Because I became a cop to protect, not to clean up murders for politicians, she said. 2 years I've collected proof. I needed someone capable of pushing it where institutions refused to look. She handed him a flash drive. Financials, messages, suppressed statements, altered medicals. Enough to crater careers. Why not the FBI? Attorney General? Internal Affairs? The rot's upstream. The local FBI has investigated 3 years. Nothing. State AG sent me back to locals, she said. The system isn't broken. It's functioning as intended. You asked what I want? Justice for Reeves and everyone else. My oath didn't include loyalty to criminals in suits. Wolf studied her. He saw no shiftiness, just spent courage. If we do this, there's no soft landing. People will fall hard. Good, she said. They have been landing on others for years. Flash drive. Pockets heavy. Wolf and Quentin withdrew. The drive felt like a weight plate. Small, dense, consequential. Inside it, ammunition. The evidence they needed to pierce shields and seized megaphones. Operation scope finalized itself. Targets named, vectors mapped. Viper work. Gather, fix, finish, protect. They shifted to a derelict warehouse on Milbrook's edge as forward operating base. Whiteboards filled. Photos. Routes, names, accounts. String lines stitching conspiracy. Wolf briefed. 12 minimum in the circle. 6 cops, chief, mayor, 2 council, 2 developers. Jordan outlined Milbrook Renaissance LLC, Mayor Hawthorne at 30%, Chief Whitman at 20, Fleming and Shin split 50. Conservative 50 million in projects across 5 years, Jordan said. Profits mature if neighborhoods clear on schedule. They're monetizing human displacement, Stefan said. They're murdering for zoning, Quentin added. Cole listened to airwaves. Heads up. Whitman authorized enhanced security, extra patrols, surveillance of witnesses, and what they call community outreach. Outreach means intimidation, Javier translated. Exactly, Cole said. They're closing ranks, pressing neighbors into silence. Wolf studied Milbrook's map. Objectives: deliver evidence to uncontaminated federal eyes, protect witnesses, neutralize cleaners by sunlight and pressure, not bullets. Stefan nodded, relief visible. Jordan grimaced. Bad news. The regional FBI office loops directly with Whitman. Agent Sarah Morrison, Detective Morrison's sister, feeds updates to the chief. Corruption goes federal, Cole said. Then traditional channels are compromised, Wolf answered. We build alternate routes. For 2 hours, they dissected the network, locating weak points, insecure phones, soft schedules, public meetings. The mission's strangeness chilled them. Overseas, enemies wore different patches. Here, the threat pinned American flags beside polished brass. A break, and Javier spoke quietly. Families deserve truth, Clarissa. Others, Stefan added. And safety. Blowback will be violent. Wolf nodded. We don't just drop files and vanish. We shield them. We control the narrative with receipts, Cole's console pipe chatter. Unit supervisors discussing evidence consolidation. They're moving items to a private storage, not the department vault. Jordan's eyebrows climbed. Off book. Perfect for swapping or disappearing items before subpoenas bite. Wolf's phone vibrated. Clarissa texting gratitude for coming. He replied with a promise he intended to keep. He looked at Lionel's photo, then the string web, then his team. We move tonight. Step 1. Lock their hands, then grab the megaphone. Jordan mirrored the private storage camera feed, hijacking a dormant vendor account. 2 officers boxed evidence. Seals already cracked. He captured serials, timestamps, faces. Stefan cross-referenced chain of custody. The gaps could swallow careers whole. Cole spoofed a tower to capture texts. Cleaners coordinated stories and sanitized phrases. Used default language. Non-compliant. Furtive movement. Weapon reach. Jordan archived everything. They'll swear these are jokes, Quentin said. They're confessions, Stefan replied. Javier quietly installed motion sensors near key witnesses' homes. Wireless, discreet, battery sippers. If anyone shows to scare them, we'll know. Wolf drafted a protector schedule, rotations on doorways, escort plans, code words, and a hotline to Ellison's burner. Stefan arranged a back channel with a reputable medical examiner in a neighboring county, ready to review Lionel's autopsy when the municipal version arrived. We'll need chain integrity affidavits, he said. Already templated, Jordan answered, tabs multiplying. Wolf compiled a dossier designed for federal inspectors general, national media watchdogs, and civil rights litigators. 3 bundles, 3 channels, same evidence. We don't ask gatekeepers for permission, he said. We avalanche them. Timing must be synchronized. Cole flagged a surge in department group chat. They've spotted unfamiliar veterans at coffee shops. That's us. Wolf smiled without humor. Then we're right on schedule. He circled milestones on the board. Evidence lock. Witness security. Public release T. Minus 48 Jordan script scraped property deals, revealing flips to shell companies and kickbacks in municipal contracts. The money trail looped from folded hands in council chambers to Crow's cash deposits. They launder through civic pride, he said. Ribbon cuttings over bloodstains. Stefan's contact texted. A prelim, autopsy official soon. The city examiner's language soft petals the contact wound. He held up photos the EMTs had quietly shared. Stippling, soot, trajectory. Physics beats euphemisms. Wolf nodded. We lead with that contrast. Javier interviewed a neighbor who'd heard the shots, seen Crow hesitate before calling. He recorded a sworn statement, voice disguised, face blurred. He feared retaliation, Javier said. We promised cover. He gets a guard tonight, Wolf replied. Cole picked up coded talk about advising the kid at Shell. Marcus. They'll try to scare him, Quentin said. Wolf. We move Marcus now. Jordan pinged Ellison. She arranged a quiet pickup relocation to a safe apartment under her cousin's watch. Jordan packaged the Shell footage with metadata, checksums, camera logs, timestamps. They'll claim tampering, he said, so we'll prove integrity 10 different ways. Cole mirrored backups to 3 encrypted clouds across jurisdictions, plus 1 news consortium. Stefan drafted a letter to Clarissa explaining the process ahead. Plain language, no jargon, truthful about risks, clear about support. Families deserve straight lines, he said. Wolf read it, eyes softening. Send it. Tonight duty meant people first. Javier found body cam gaps, devices malfunctioning whenever cleaners worked. He stacked instances across 5 years, overlaying call logs and outcomes. Patterns undeniable, Jordan said. We'll narrate it for the public, then give raw data to lawyers. Quentin visited Lionel's block, where neighbors placed candles and notes. He crouched, reading a child's scribble. Mr. Reeves helped me fix my bike. He swallowed anger and promised the sidewalk, cross of ferocity, that courtrooms would understand soon. Cole intercepted a call between Chief Whitman and Mayor Hawthorne. Containment, she said. Keep it local. Outside attention dies quickly, understood, Whitman replied. I'll manage the story. Cole cut the audio to Wolf. They think they own the map. Jordan scheduled a midnight press packet, timed to auto-release if Viper went dark, failsafe to friendly journalists and one national paper's investigative desk. If we disappear, the truth won't, he said. Wolf. Good. But we're not disappearing. Ellison sent internal memos she'd cached, a directive to discourage officers from independent statements, a template for fear for my life paragraphs, and a list of favored media contacts. It's not investigation, Jordan said. It's screenplay distribution. Stefan reviewed the angles of Lionel's wounds with a ballistics app, modeling distances and positions. The contact wound contradicted Crow's lunge claim, impossible geometry. We'll animate this for the hearing, he said. Juries understand pictures faster. Javier rehearsed witness escorts, overlapping routes, decoy vehicles. Cleaner tails? Assume them, he said. Quentin checked kits, medgear, comms, legal binders, spare batteries. Viper fought with paperwork and cameras now, but readiness never dulled. Cole caught a text from Crow. We good, Morrison replied. Stick to language. IA closed quick. Jordan annotated times. They think the cord is knotted. Wolf drew a knife in the air. We'll cut it at 3 points and yank. A message from Maria, Javier's daughter, lit his screen. Be safe, Dad. He smiled, typed a heart, pocketed the ache. Motivation sharpened. Protect kids like Maria, like Kenzie. Make Milbrook safe for quiet coffee and spearmint gum again. Ellison warned of a patrol reassignment, cleaners concentrating near witnesses. They're spooked, Cole said. Good, Wolf replied. Spooked men make mistakes. He assigned Quentin to shadow Crow tightly, not to intervene, only to capture, timestamp, archive. Jordan printed a wall-sized timeline spanning 5 years, pins marking deaths, council votes, property purchases, and Whitman's promotions. The overlaps looked like lattice work. We'll walk reporters along this line, he said. They'll see how it sings. Stefan phoned Lionel's old platoon medic, who remembered his humor under morphine and the day he declined evac until the last soldier lifted. He recorded a statement. Character evidence matters, Stefan told Wolf. He deserves more than a diagram. Wolf revised the opening line for the press conference so they'd force. Sergeant First Class Lionel Reeves died buying coffee. not lunging for a gun. He practiced until it landed like a gavel. "We tell the truth plain," he said. "Then prove it." Cole's spectrum analyzer chirped, an encrypted push from Whitman to cleaners, scheduling a late-night huddle at a private club. "Set. Eyes," Wolf said. Javier positioned a long lens on a rooftop. Jordan prepped a parabolic mic. "We just need ambient facts." The club hosted laughter and swagger. Crow clinked glasses. Whitman shook hands with a developer. Jordan captured snippets through windows and public sidewalk angles. No trespass, only tenacity. "Not smoking guns," he said, "but the room smells like cordite." Ellison texted, "Stay clear. Internal rumor your ex-military operatives. Wolf. Rumor accurate." Ellison, "Then expect escalation." Wolf, "We do." Trust, fragile but growing, flowed two ways. A clean cop inside could change a war's tempo. Javier walked past Lionel's truck at impound, silver scrapes where his cheek met steel. He photographed the marks, measured height, matched to Lionel's frame. "Consistent with forced head contact," Stefan confirmed. "Another nail," Jordan said. "Build the coffin." Quentin tailed Crow home, camera rolling. Crow scanned rear view, smug contentment on his face. Quentin narrated timestamps softly. "Not vengeance," he reminded himself. "Accountability." Wolf's voice echoed. "We break their shield with facts, not fists." Cole triangulated the burner Crow had used to fabricate the shell call, linking tower pings to his patrol routes. Jordan packaged it into a simple graphic. Fake call here, stop here, shots here. "Every lie leaves breadcrumb," he said. The warehouse hummed as Viper aligned files and schedules. 3 hard drives labeled press legal IG weighted like charges. Wolf put a hand on each. "For Lionel," he said, "for Kenzie's birthday, he won't attend for every candle on that sidewalk." Clarissa texted a photo of Lionel's neatly trimmed hedges, sunlight catching the flag he'd kept respectfully small. "He believed in this place," she wrote. Wolf swallowed grief and typed back, "We'll make it believe in him." He meant every letter. Ellison sent a final green light. A sympathetic U.S. attorney 2 counties over agreed to receive evidence off calendar. "Uncontaminated channel," Jordan said. "We go at dawn." "Not a raid," Wolf said. "A delivery." Let the system's honest parts breathe. They rehearsed the morning. 2 vehicles, staggered arrival. 1 guard stays external, 1 inside. Evidence receipts signed in duplicate. Cloud triggers primed. Media packets scheduled for the minute the first signature hits paper. We script their day. Quentin loaded the trunk. External drives, affidavits, body cam gap analysis, map boards printed small. Stefan packed medgear anyway. Habit. "Hope not," he said. "Plan yes," Wolf answered. "Trust the plan. Adjust under fire." Same as always. Jordan tested the dead man switch one last time. If any of them missed a routine check-in, the archive went live. "Insurance," he told the room. "Peace of mind," Cole said. "Motivation to live," Javier added. They smiled without humor. Javier sent a final goodnight to Maria. Stefan texted his nephew, "Proud of your game." Quentin opened a photo of a dusty Afghan dawn where Viper stood younger and invincible. "We keep promises," Wolf said quietly. Silence agreed like a vow. Outside, Milbrook exhaled under streetlights. Inside, 6 men stacked truth into towers no one could knock easily. "Tomorrow they'll tell us to wait," Jordan said. "We'll hand them clocks," Cole replied. Wolf looked at Lionel's picture and nodded. The last checklist ticked. Doors locked. Watches synced. "We're not soldiers of fortune," Wolf said. "We're soldiers of memory. No one writes the last paragraph for Lionel but us." He clicked off the light. Dawn already pressed the horizon. At Clarissa's, Kenzie slept hugging a stuffed fox, party invitations stacked by the fridge. Clarissa read Wolf's letter twice, then pressed it to her chest, daring hope to be stronger than fear. "Bring the truth," she whispered. "Bring my brother home." In a tidy cul-de-sac, Crow slept soundly, alarms set. Gun on nightstand, commendation fantasies playing. He'd never imagined the shape of consequences coming. Documents, diagrams, voices he couldn't silence, and a nation tired of stories, ending the same. Mayor Hawthorne drafted remarks about community healing, her speechwriter recycling platitudes. Chief Whitman planned a press statement heavy on split-second decisions. Their calendars didn't yet include subpoenas, hearings, or the word conspiracy in bold. Miles away, a U.S. attorney reviewed a midnight email from Ellison's friend. Trust the messengers. Evidence robust. Sensitive. She set an early alarm, instructed her assistant to clear an hour. Sometimes machinery can grind, sometimes it can turn. Marcus dozed in a borrowed room, phone offline. He'd shown courage with a thumb and a camera. Now adults promised to keep him safe. He believed them because their eyes matched their words. He'd testify. He'd say Lionel was polite. Hutchkins counted cash in a dim kitchen, texts unanswered. His role would be smaller this time. Viper had moved faster than his fear. Somewhere a conscience flickered. He poured whiskey over it and promised himself he'd move out next month. On a whiteboard, Wolf had written 3 verbs: expose, protect pressure. Underneath, a fourth appeared in Stefan's block print: remember. It's the only way forward, Stefan said. We carry them until institutions remember their duty. The room agreed. Dawn edged the warehouse windows as Viper zipped packs. Weapons? Quentin asked. Words, Wolf said, tapping drives. Receipts, timelines, and whatever courage the honest have left. He slung a bag, breath steady. Mount up! Time to turn on lights. Engines started. Radios clicked. Ellison's burner buzzed once. Clear road. The convoy rolled toward truth with a veteran's patience and a brother's urgency. They weren't there to wage a war on a city. They were there to end one. And in the quiet, before headlines, before podiums, before denials cracked, 6 men who had bled together prepared to fight with evidence instead of rifles, because some oaths stretch beyond uniforms, and some battles for a brother begin at home. We hit everything at once, Adrian said, voice flat. Crow's crew first, then the money spigot, then the political shield. By the time they blink, evidence floods out. Retaliation options strangled. Jordan slid up a color-coded timeline. Their comms repeat a rhythm, Jordan said. Friday nights at Murphy's Tavern. Cleaners gather, toast, assign weekend service. Tomorrow reads the same. They're labeling a run as community service. Cole's jaw set. Translation, another body, written off. I cross-referenced community service mentions against obituaries and missing persons, Jordan added. Dates line up with suspicious deaths and vanishings clustered in black neighborhoods. Adrian felt that cold battlefield rage, civilians being targeted, paperwork laundering homicide. Who's marked? Quentin asked. Unclear, Jordan said. Monitoring chatter. Real estate filings hint Oakwood sector again, the same zone where Lionel fell. Adrian, then we interdict. Whatever they scripted gets torn up. We stop it clean, no collateral. How? Javier asked. By being better, Adrian answered. We've outtrained them our entire lives. Twilight came while Viper kitted up. Surveillance rigs, secured comms, non-lethals, hidden cameras, identical notebooks. Not a war zone, yet danger hummed like a generator. At 7 p.m., Cole snared a transmission. Unit 24/7 beginning patrol. Oakwood sector. Wellness check requested. 156. Oakwood, Jordan. That's Crow's call sign. Address belongs to Marcus Talbot, 29. Black male, occasional construction gigs. Record? Adrian asked. Clean, Jordan said. Lives alone. Few nearby relatives. House sits dead center of a slated redevelopment parcel. Perfect profile for a compliant narrative. Quentin. Clock? 30 to 40 minutes, Jordan replied. He creates cause, escalates. Stefan. Not tonight. Adrian. Mount up. We protect Talbot. Capture everything. 2 vehicles peeled opposite ways. Javier and Cole took rooftops. Jordan rode comms with Ellison. Stefan and Quentin shadowed flanks to foil planted contraband. Adrian would front face Crow. Dark streets slid past. Adrian saw Lionel's last minutes like film. Alone, surrounded by predators. Not again. If Crow wanted another tally, he'd run headlong into 6 professionals who'd outlived wars. Eyes have it, Cole whispered. Crow's cruiser, 2 blocks south. Engine idling, lights off. He's waiting out the script, Adrian. Any shadows? Negative, Cole said. Solo for now. Adrian, Javier? House lit, TV glow, blinds open. He's unaware. Traffic? Adrian asked. Jordan, Crow just bragged to his chat. Starting community service, update soon. He pinged Martinez coordinates. Northbound backup 12 minutes, given signals and lights, Adrian. We move before cavalry. Copy, Quentin said. Stack on you. Adrian approached the patrol car, high-def body cam live, designed for firefights, not malfunctions. Crow's hand drifted toward his sidearm, then paused at Adrian's bearing. Calm, squared shoulders, veteran courtesy. Evening, Adrian said. Captain Adrian Wolfe, U.S. Army? Noise complaint, right? Crow squinted, instincts whining. Domestic disturbance. You live here? Visiting a friend, Adrian lied with ease. Haven't heard noise, thought I'd touch base. Professional courtesy Crow tasted the trap and couldn't name it. He tested, What's your business here? Checking on a brother from downrange, Adrian said. Marcus Talbot did 3 tours. Transition can be rough. Crow recalculated the target suddenly carried alleged military ties and a credible witness. His tidy timeline buckled under glare. If he's your guy, Crow said, testing an exit, tell him to keep it down. Neighbors are touchy. Adrian cocked his head toward a quiet porch. Sounds dead silent, officer. Maybe he saw my cruiser, Crow offered. Let's knock together, Adrian suggested. Crow felt cornered. No isolation, no authored script. A uniformed witness with battlefield poise made his usual playbook burn. Not necessary, he said, jaw tight. I can handle it. He'll relax with a familiar face, Adrian said. Veterans and authority, complicated. I don't need help, Crow snapped. Just offering to smooth it, unless you prefer no witnesses. The barb glinted. Dispatch cut in. Unit 247, stationary 22 minutes. Status? Crow answered carefully, words suddenly made of glass. Responding at 156 Oakwood, he said, assessing. Dispatch. Need backup? Another fork. Ask, look jumpy. Refuse? Stay stuck with a wild card soldier? Negative, Crow replied. Will advise. Adrian smiled pleasantly. Shall we? Crow climbed out, mind sprinting. The man beside him anticipated angles like a platoon leader. As they walked, Crow probed. You served with Talbot? Reliable, steady, Adrian said. Route clearance engineer. Dangerous work. Never blinked. He painted Talbot sympathetic, spotlighted. On the porch, Adrian knocked. Marcus, Captain Wolfe, there's an officer about a noise call. The door swung open. Talbot, late 20s, t-shirt, confusion plain. Sir, I think you've got the wrong Marcus. I never served. Adrian shifted without missing. My mistake, he said easily. Different Marcus. But the complaint hit your address. Talbot frowned. I'm watching a game. Volumes low. Didn't hear shouting anywhere, Crow asserted. We received a disturbance call. Identification, please. Of course, Talbot said, moving slow, palms telegraphing peace. Adrian watched Crow's thumb worry his holster, a man itching to escalate. How long you been here, Mr. Talbot? Adrian asked, conversational. 3 years. My grandmother's house. Quiet block. Officer Crow returned the license. Fury tamped. What should have ended in a justified shooting was now an innocuous porch chat. No threat, no resistance, no manufactured reach. Maybe wrong address, he said. Keep it down. Yes, sir, Talbot said. Back at the cruiser, Adrian could feel heat rolling off Crow. Denied victim, denied thrill, denied envelope of cash. Strange how calls evaporate, Adrian observed. Yeah, Crow grunted, brittle. Strange. He drove off without a glance and turned right. All units, Adrian radioed. Target departed. Porch contact clean Jordan. Monitoring confirms. Crow's chat flipped from cocky to pissed. He posted community service postponed. Adrian returned to the door, flashed real credentials. Mr. Talbot, important conversation inside. Adrian laid it out, the pattern that slaughtered Lionel and 7 others. He showed community threads, payouts, maps, doctored reports. He explained development zones, cash deposits, political insulation. Crow's kills weren't accidents, they were scheduled. The laptop showed cleaners, cracking jokes about bodies, cash spikes following justified shootings, Milbrook Renaissance LLC purchasing grief-struck blocks. If we hadn't interceded, Adrian said softly, you'd be gone. Tonight's paperwork already half written, Talbot's silence vibrated. Minutes from death, for owning a house someone richer wanted. What do I do? Live, Adrian said. Stay visible. Record everything. Help us protect others. He handed a hardened phone, installed cameras, mapped safety steps. They arranged a temporary move with relatives beyond the target grid. There are more like you, Adrian said. We'll warn them, crowd the angles. Deny the hunters. Across town, Murphy's Tavern grew tense as service night collapsed into beers and blame. A soldier, Martinez scoffed. Right place, right time. What was I supposed to do? Shoot him too, Crow spat. Stevens, maybe Talbot's connected. Officer Park whispered, or somebody's onto us. 5 years of impunity suddenly felt fragile, wrong-footed. Crow's phone buzzed with an unknown text. We know Lionel Reeves. We know the others. We know the money. We know Renaissance. It ends now. Martinez peered. Block it. Feds fishing. Panic had already gripped them. Whoever this was, they knew everything. Stevens flashed a headline. Federal probe launches into Milbrook police brutality. Evidence fraud. Kickbacks. Justice Department Civil Rights and Public Integrity units attached. How? Park asked, voice small. Martinez. Someone inside. Someone reading our wires. Crow's lungs thinned. The article read targeted, not broad, like a knife laid against arteries. We shut it down, he said. Freeze ops. Burn paper. Align statements. And the snitch? Stevens asked. Martinez. Find them. Solve it the usual way. None of them noticed the pea-sized transmitter epoxied under their tabletop, whispering everything to Cole's van down the block. Directional mics and protocol sniffers cradling confessions and threats, uploading in real time to clean federal inboxes. They're rattled, Cole told Viper, discussing evidence destruction and handling informants. Adrian, good. Tomorrow we tighten the vise. The predators left Murphy's glancing over shoulders, tasting prey for the first time. Meanwhile, Whitman dialed upward, panicked. Dawn rolled in with black SUVs. A joint team fanned across Milbrook. FBI Agent Rebecca Chen, DOJ Civil Rights, FinCEN, and DEA Public Corruption liaisons, warrants stacked like tile, evidence boxes ready. Ellison's pipeline had primed the storm. Chief Harold Whitman watched from his office, trembling. The favor he'd called 3 days ago, expecting a lid, had blown the stove instead. He picked a secure handset. They're here, a cool voice replied. Deputy Assistant AG Priscilla Monroe. We know, Monroe said. Initiate contingency. What contingency? Whitman asked, dread rising. The one where anti-government terrorists attack police. Cleaners die. Heroes. Whitman froze. You're suggesting killing federal agents? I'm protecting a multi-state revenue machine. Milbrook is one spoke, Monroe went on. Detroit, Baltimore, Memphis, Phoenix, Jacksonville, Houston. Similar operations, similar profits. 12-year run. 300 plus properties repurposed. Acceptable relocation casualties for progress. Whitman swallowed bile, finally seeing the beast's body. Outside, Agent Chen briefed under a gray sky. We've got officer payments following suspicious deaths, recorded planning of hits, medical falsifications, and silenced witnesses, corroborated across sources. Whoever built this intelligence thinks in operational layers. DEA's Marcus Sullivan scanned Jordan's financial overlays. This reads like a target deck. Unknown authorship, Chen said, but experience screams military or intel. A clean structure, tight corroboration, ledgered timelines. She highlighted payouts dovetailing with property grabs, developer shells, and back-channeled city contracts. Milbrook Renaissance LLC appears repeatedly, DOJ's Lisa Rodriguez observed. Acquisitions within 6 months of each killing. Conservative 50 million pipeline here alone, Chen answered. None of them realized Cole mirrored their comms, ferrying updates to Adrian's earpiece. Jordan already rode federal databases like a ghost, tracking their casework, flagging choke points. Viper spread out around the station, anticipating the backlash federal teams hadn't imagined. Men who'd kill to protect investments wouldn't flinch at badges. At 8:47 a.m., the task force entered headquarters with warrants for finances, comms, and evidence from officer shootings. Lawyers flanked Whitman, hurling jurisdiction arguments and suppression motions. Chen's patience thinned, but her cadence stayed courtroom measured. We're here on civil rights and financial crimes, Chen said. Your cooperation accelerates the truth. Whitman countered. Coordinated anti-police extremists threaten officers and families. He produced letters and screenshots that smelled like last night printer ink. These are manufactured, Chen said, tapping metadata. Created yesterday, backdated with clumsy timestamps. At 8:52, Crow received an encrypted ping. Federal raid underway. Initiate Blackwater Protocol. Eliminate witnesses and evidence. He summoned cleaners to an off-book warehouse cache. Inside waited unmarked rifles, armor, radios, old plates. Feds are attacking cops with fabricated intel, Crow told them. We defend and frame the terrorists who've targeted us. Martinez racked a military-grade carbine sourced through dirty procurement brokers. How's it look like terrorists? Stevens asked over maps. Crow, civilian clothes, non-police guns, outside angles. When backup shows, we're heroes defending feds from extremists. Parks shifted, unsettled. And the extremists? They perish in the crossfire, Crow said. The narrative was grotesquely tidy. Team Viper cast as domestic enemies, cleaners as martyrs, evidence smoldering in a controlled inferno. They missed the tracker Javier had ghosted onto a bumper. The chatter Cole relayed to Chen and Adrian simultaneously. They're mobilizing, Javier said, calling it Blackwater Protocol. Plan, hit the station while feds are inside. Blame us. Adrian's heartbeat slowed, sharpening. It wasn't pressure anymore. It was combat. Timeline, 20 minutes. Gear moving now. New mission, Adrian told Viper. Protect federal teams. Ensure real criminals face court. Rules? Quentin asked. Whatever stops mass murder, Adrian said. Inside, feds opened rotten vaults. Payments crossing years, coordinated narratives, medical euphemisms stapled over injuries. Not corruption. Organized crime hiding behind badges, Chen told her unit. Sullivan flagged something darker. It's not just here. We've got the same architecture in 6 cities. The board glowed with city names, overlay lines webbing like arteries. Rodriguez traced flows, developer shells washing tainted dollars, back through consulting fees and equipment buys. A full-stack enterprise, she said. Chen felt the floor change. This case was a doorway into something that infected institutions across borders. Ellison's urgent call hit Sullivan's radio. Credible threat. Imminent assault on your location by corrupt officers with automatic weapons and explosives. Source? Chen asked. Multiple, Ellison answered. Independent streams align. You are minutes out, Chen chose decisively. Evacuate now. Evidence and personnel to fallback site. Investigation continues where lives aren't ambushed. Agents hustled boxes and drives, peeled and staggered elements. Cleaners sped toward a fight they thought would cement their legend. 3 vehicles, 3 roles. Martinez with explosives, Stevens with long guns meant to look radical, Park with fake IDs and manifestos. Enough firepower to translate conspiracy into blackened cement. They burst into a mostly empty lobby, baffled. Where are the feds? Martinez snarled, seizing a clerk. Gone. 20 minutes, she quavered. Crow's radio blasted. Agent Shen, on all bands. We know Blackwater Protocol. We know your enterprise. Surrender or die chasing a lie. Silence followed, heavy as iron. Panic salted their tongues. How do they know? Park whispered. Somebody's reading everything, Stevens said. Crow's encrypted phone chimed again. Operation Blown. Remove all witnesses, torch trails. Initiate scorched earth. Monroe's message drew a darker red line. Scorched earth meant bodies and ash. Witnesses gone, files erased, vanishing into prepared identities. New plan, Crow growled. We find whoever's feeding them and end it. Another voice cut across, Adrian's amplified. You killed Lionel Reeves. You plan to kill feds. It's over. Crow finally recognized the silhouette that haunted his setbacks. Not chance, but an organized counterforce with military spine. Where are you, Wolf? Everywhere, Adrian said. We mapped your accounts, chats, safe houses, patrons. Renaissance is on the docket. Crow's screen exploded with receipts, bank snapshots, GPS trails, chat logs, composite sketches of the network. You want an ending, he radioed. Steel Mill, Factory Road, you and me negative, Adrian said. You're surrendering to federal custody. No theatrics. I'm not caging for doing my job, Crow snarled. Your job was protection, Adrian replied. You chose contract killing, masked as policing. I cleaned streets. You monetized grief. Reporters, scanners, and neighboring departments recorded every syllable live. Stefan broke in. EMS, staging multiple ambulances. They're expecting blood, Adrian, or copy. Hold defensive perimeters. Prioritize civilians. Jordan, vehicles splitting. Multiple axes trying to force overwhelmed response. Adrian, deny them population centers. Herd them where coverage is ours. What followed was discipline meeting desperation. Cutoff points appeared because Jordan pre-mapped every camera and alley. Federal cars, boxed routes Viper had pre-selected. Cleaners ran into professionals, not unarmed neighbors, and discovered different physics. 14 minutes, 3 blocks. Martinez died, mishandling his own explosive. Planning met consequence. Stevens went down in a flanking movement. Adrian and Quentin trading angles like the old days. Park surrendered after precision fire disabled his engine harmlessly. Crow holed up in a derelict building, windows shattered, lungs ragged. Federal agents surrounded him. Adrian called through a bullhorn. Final chance, Crow! Hands up, step out. Go to hell, came back, brittle. 8 innocents, Adrian said. Federal ambush planned. It's done. I did my job, Crow repeated like an incantation. Those people were poison, dealers, bangers, agitators. Lionel bought coffee, Adrian said. Marcus watched TV. Darius walked home. You turned profit models into obituaries. Negotiations seesawed for an hour. Crow swung to bargaining. I'll give names, accounts, directives, everything above me. We've already got the tree, Adrian replied. You're not the linchpin you imagine. There are 50 cities like us, Crow spat. You can't stop that tide. Watch us, Adrian said, stone calm. He believed the scope. Jordan's data made it undeniable, but belief didn't bend outcomes. Federal assaulters moved on command. Crow went down breathing, cuffed, raging about conspiracies as medics sealed gauze. You picked a fight with power you don't comprehend, Crow hissed as they loaded him. Judges, senators, agents, owned. We're accustomed to long odds, Adrian said. Lights flickered across concrete while feds bagged evidence and corralled sworn statements. Jordan jogged up with live headlines. It's spreading. Families in 6 cities coming forward. Investigations opening tonight. Good, Adrian said. Lionel's death must change more than one skyline. Stefan arrived, gear still strapped, eyes tired but steady. What about the others? Stefan asked. The mothers and spouses? Go help them, Adrian said. The prosecutors have the bones now. Quentin exited with a blood-spattered spiral notebook. Crow kept ledgers, names, payments, targets, methods. 5 years. Meticulous poison pages documented each step: target selection, green light, kill, cleanup. 8 local families embodied, dozens more cross-referenced by phone numbers and shells. There were protocols for silencing funeral protests. The book was a Rosetta Stone for indictments. Straight to prosecutors, Adrian said. Let them translate justified into premeditated. Cole, still wired to federal nets, reported parallel raids lighting 6 cities: Detroit, Baltimore, Memphis, Phoenix, Jacksonville, Houston. The lattice is collapsing, he said. Body count of officials? Adrian asked. 300 in the opening wave. Cops, clerks, examiners, council members, developers, Cole answered. That's before deals and flips. Viper cleaned their gear, knowing the work had only widened. Crow had been right about one detail. The template existed elsewhere. But something fundamental changed. Secrecy died. Victims became people again, not statistics. The knife of sunlight cut across conference tables and selective hearing committees. Months later, autumn warmth kissed Arlington's grass. Section 60 held a ceremony unlike any other. Lionel Reeves returned to rest with honors stolen by a falsified narrative. The honor guard moved like precision metronomes, gravity doubled behind each fold. Adrian wore dress blues, ribbons earned under sand and stars. Viper stood flanking him. Cole, Javier, Quentin, Jordan, Stefan. Mission complete. Victory. Tasting bitter without the man who anchored their humor. The crowd mixed uniforms, suits, and sorrow. Agent Rebecca Chen sat front row, representing a task force that prosecuted the largest police corruption case on record. Detective Mariah Ellison wore new lieutenant bars, appointed to lead a statewide civil rights unit birthed from ashes and persistence. At the center, Clarissa Reeves held Kenzie's hand, the little girl peeking between adults to watch a flag she understood mattered. Families of the other 7 victims sat together, grief braided with relief, names finally pried from slander. The chaplain spoke of service and brotherhood, words Viper understood in bone. Then each man laid a medal on Lionel's casket: Bronze Star with Valor, Purple Heart, Combat Infantryman's Badge, Distinguished Service Cross. Recognitions delayed by bureaucratic fog now burned off. Adrian carried the last decoration, a Medal of Honor authorized posthumously for the civic consequence of Lionel's death, a singular act of recognition bridging the uniform's world and the nation's need for justice. Your final mission is complete, Adrian whispered, the flag folded into tight triangles, presented with the line that breaks and steadies families. On behalf of the President, the Army, and a grateful nation. Chen handed Clarissa a letter from the Attorney General, formal apology, official truth. The reception told the broader story. Over 300 officials charged across 6 states, the enterprise that turned killings into condos dismantled. Nathan Crow serving life without parole after 8 murder convictions and layered conspiracies. His confession, traded too late, clarified trails prosecutors already walked. Chief Whitman awaited RICO trial, facing death-eligible counts for attempting to orchestrate the federal ambush. Mayor Patrice Hawthorne served 25 years for conspiracy and fraud. Developers Fleming and Shen faced civil storms, damages tallied in 9 figures, settlements funding scholarships and community trusts in neighborhoods they'd mined. The deepest changes arrived in precinct plans. Milbrook PD dissolved, rebuilt with real oversight. Cameras mandatory and safeguarded. Psychological screening raised. Community review with binding teeth. Parallel reforms sprouted in every connected city. Ellison found Viper near the photos, carrying an offer that sounded like a mission briefing disguised as policy. Justice wants a standing task force, she said. Investigate police corruption and civil rights violations nationally. Prefer veterans who think like you. Federal badges, resources, prosecutors on speed dial. Adrian gauged his team. Interest bright behind mourning. Scope? He asked. Cases locals can't or won't touch, Tropiche, Ellison said. Patterns like Milbrook, systemic rot, organized exploitation. You'd have lawful authority for the work you just did in the gray. Stefan exhaled. Authority changes everything. Full backing, Ellison said. Direct line to indictments. Quentin nodded. Feels like a thing Lionel would tell us to do. Offers to all of you, she added. Viper as the cornerstone of policing the police, built right. Jordan's brain spun capabilities. Federal forensics, lawful intercepts, subpoena power, financial heat maps without guessing. With that toolbox, he said, we can cut faster and cleaner. Cole finally smiled. We can't stop them all, but more than before. Javier looked toward the headstone. What would Lionel say? Adrian didn't hesitate. Mission first, protect the innocent from those sworn to protect. The families drifted over. Thank yous, humble and raw. Darius Johnson's mother cried into Stefan's sleeve. You proved my boy wasn't a monster, she said. They wanted his block, not his record. Terrence Brown's widow, now financially secure, hugged Cole, promising college for two kids because truth paid its debts when institutions finally listened. Marcus Talbot waited his turn. I replay that porch night, he told Adrian, how close I came to dying for existing on a parcel someone circled. How are you now? Adrian asked. Better, Marcus said. Sold fair. Moved, sleeping again. I shouldn't have to leave to be safe, he added. You shouldn't, Adrian agreed. That's why we're not done. Lionel lit the fuse. Our job is keeping it burning until light fills every room they darkened. Viper gathered for one last moment at the grave. Simple stone, powerful line. Sergeant First Class Lionel Reeves, beloved brother, protector of the innocent. Now what? Stefan asked. Now we work, Adrian said. With badges, with law, same hearts. Think we matter? Quentin asked. Adrian nodded at Kenzie's tiny hand tracing letters. Lionel proved one life can change policy. We'll honor that by multiplying it. Jordan's phone buzzed. 12 cities launching probes inspired by Milbrook. Families finally being heard, Jordan said. Headlines turning into motions, Cole added. Not sacrifice, dividends, Adrian corrected. Each conviction, each reform, his legacy growing legs. Quentin touched the Medal of Honor, etched icon. He'd be proud we finished. He'd also tell us to accept the badges, Adrian said. They walked away, already drafting playbooks, intake protocols, witness protection templates, evidence guards, turning wartime habits into domestic shields. The invitation became appointment letters within weeks. The Federal Police Accountability Task Force took shape in a secure DC hub, field offices spidering outward, their caseload. Anywhere pattern recognition whispered Milbrook's melody, aligned shootings, sudden flip sales, recurring coroners, familiar lawyers. Adrian, now special agent in charge, kept Lionel's barbecue photo on his desk. Laugh wide, Kinsey perched on his shoulders. Not the salute shot. The humanity mattered more. The mission began in a gas station aisle. It now spanned continents of policy. The task force moved with surgical patience. Lawful warrants, airtight chains, public narratives paced with evidentiary drops. Police unions screamed. Honest officers whispered thanks. City councils discovered subpoenas bite harder than talking points when data sings. 6 months brought headlines that read like a ledger of redress. Chicago network dismantled, Detroit under federal oversight, Memphis convictions finalized. Each story represented a door opened for families and a lock snapped on men who traded badges for profit. Their base hummed with analysts, attorneys, and veterans who'd traded rifles for affidavits. Whiteboards became case walls, maps layered timelines over deeds, and dispatch audio. Everyone learned to translate furtive movement into fabricated cause, with receipts. Adrian ended most nights glancing at Lionel's grin, whispering a promise. We kept going. He believed institutions could change when cornered with truth and shielded witnesses. He believed ordinary people deserved coffee without choreography for survival. The brotherhood that came for revenge stayed for reform. They didn't leave anyone behind, especially the nameless buried under investigation closed. In death, Lionel accomplished an impossible thing. He forced a machine to look at itself and relent. And if stories don't finish at the last period, this one didn't either. It became policy memos, budget lines, community boards, and training manuals. The fight would outlast them, but the template, evidence first, people protected, was now hardwired. What followed wasn't chaos, it was choreography. Cutoffs materialized where Jordan preceded them on a satellite overlay. Federal cruisers sealed avenues Viper had diagrammed hours before. Cleaners slammed into trained resistance and learned physics different from bullying civilians on quiet blocks. 14 minutes stretched long and sharp. Martinez fumbled a block of stolen explosive near a federal SUV. The blast chewed his own cover. Stevens traded rounds with Adrian and Quentin, then folded under a textbook flank. Park's engine died, surrender blooming. Crow barricaded inside a stripped brick shell, dust and glass in his throat. Sirens stitched the air. Agents ringed the perimeter. Adrian's voice rolled from a bullhorn, even and inevitable, offering a door out that didn't include body bags or legends. Last chance, Ethan, Adrian called. Hands visible, weapons down. Crow spat back heat. You'll burn for this, Wolf. You killed 8 civilians, Adrian answered. You tried to ambush federal teams. The story's over. Walk out, or we finish it by the book. I clean the streets, Crow yelled, reciting a script like prayer. Dealers, bangers, agitators. Lionel bought coffee, Adrian said. Marcus watched a game. Darius walked home. That's who your bullets found negotiators rotated, steady as tide, while time starved bravado. Crow pivoted to bargaining. I've got names and bank lines, moneyed hands with signatures. Give me a deal. We already mapped the network, Adrian said. You're not a key. You're a cog that squealed too late. Footfalls shifted. Shields slid. Final approach forming. There are 50 cities, Crow barked. You can't stem that river. We'll sandbag every block, Adrian said. We're patient men. Entry team flowed on command. Flash, thump, door caved, hands on, weapon kicked, cuffs ratcheting. Crow left ranting, pulse thudding stubbornly. He tried grandeur on the gurney. You poked bears with gavels, Wolf. They own robes and seats. We've fought harder enemies with worse odds, Adrian replied. Lights stuttered across cracked concrete while evidence teams vacuumed traces and bagged the rot carefully. Jordan jogged over, screen bright with headlines turning like gears. It's national already, families speaking, hotlines jammed, offices opening cases, Detroit, Memphis, Phoenix, dominoes. Good, Adrian said quietly. Lionel deserves ripples, not just ripples. Current Stefan arrived, boots dusty, med rig slung. What about mothers and spouses? Stefan asked. They've waited years. Go help them, Adrian answered. Prosecutors have the spine now. We'll hold umbrellas. Quentin stepped out holding a blood-splotched spiral. Crow kept a journal, targets, payouts, methods, 5 years itemized. The notebook read like a ledger of sins, green lights, execution notes, evidence swaps, funeral disruptions neutralized. Cross-references pointed to sister crews elsewhere. It was a field manual for prosecutors. A translator converting justified into premeditated with hard, careful ink. Straight to the AUSA, Adrian said. No detours. Cole's headset crackled with multi-state ops updates, synchronized warrants serving in Houston, Baltimore, Jacksonville. The lattice is snapping, he said. Early count. Hundreds. Implicated before flips. It's an orchard, not fruit. The work widened. Crow had been right about scale, but wrong about invincibility. Secrecy died under halogen beams and sworn affidavits. Victims' names returned to families' mouths, without the acidic word suspect glued beside them by self preserving reports. 6 months slid into October gold at Arlington. Section 60 breathed a solemn hush. Lionel Reeves came home beneath a flag he'd earned twice, once in deserts, once by the reckoning his death unlocked. The honor guard moved like clocks with heartbeats. Adrian wore dress blues, ribbons squared. Viper stood in a quiet line. Cole, Javier, Quentin, Jordan, Stefan, victory, tasting like ash and truth. The congregation blended uniforms, federal windbreakers, community leaders, and families finally greeting justice by first names. Agent Rebecca Chen sat forward row, carrying the weight of a historic prosecution. Detective, now Lieutenant, Mariah Ellison wore new bars, appointed to build a statewide civil rights unit from lessons paid with blood and patient file work, not slogans or photo ops. Front center, Clarissa Reeves held Kenzie's hand. The little girl watched triangles form from stripes and stars. Around them, 7 other families leaned into one another, relief and sorrow braided, badges no longer defining how their loved ones would be remembered. The chaplain spoke of covenant and duty. Viper filed past to set medals on Lionel's casket: Bronze Star with Valor, Purple Heart, CIB, Distinguished Service Cross. Lost recognitions found their mark. Overdue ceremony replaced bureaucratic shrugging and misfiled heroism. Adrian carried a final case: the Medal of Honor authorized posthumously, not for a firefight, but for consequence. How one death detonated a machine that harvested neighborhoods. Mission complete, brother, he whispered. Your watch changed the map forever. The flag folded into perfect corners. On behalf of the President, the United States Army, and a grateful nation. The script still pierced. Agent Chen handed Clarissa a letter, formal apology, official acknowledgement of murder by conspiracy, not justification by lies. The reception traced results in plain numbers: 300 plus charged, the development racket dissolved, instruments of violence repurposed for exhibits, Ethan Crow serving life without parole, 8 murders, layered conspiracies, his late confession confirming evidence already marching toward verdicts in different courthouses. Chief Harold Whitman awaited trial under RICO, death-eligible counts for directing an attempted mass casualty ambush. Mayor Patrice Hawthorne served 25 for conspiracy and fraud. Developers Fleming and Shin bled settlements into scholarship funds and neighborhood trusts, converting ill-gotten gains into beginnings for others. The most profound changes weren't sentences, they were structures. Milbrook PD dissolved, rebuilt with real oversight, tamper-proof cameras, psychological screening tuned for violent signals, community boards with binding teeth. Parallel reforms unfurled wherever the enterprise had planted roots and harvested fear efficiently. Ellison found Viper near a photo board, carrying an invitation folded into authority. Justice wants a permanent unit, she said. National reach. Police corruption and civil rights cases others can't or won't touch. Veterans preferred. Badges, resources, subpoena firepower. Adrian scanned his team. Scope? Systemic rot, Ellison said. Patterns like Milbrook. Your methods, but lawful from jump. Direct pipeline to prosecutors. Stefan nodded slowly. Doing what we just did without gray lines. Quentin's eyes softened. Feels like Lionel's marching orders. Offers for all of you, she said. Be the nucleus for policing the police. Built the right way. Jordan's gaze already chased tool sets. Federal forensics, clean intercepts, bank subpoenas, analytics with teeth. We could cut faster, cleaner, safer, he murmured. Cole cracked his first real smile in months. We'll never stop them all, but we'll stop more with badges and a war chest. Javier looked toward Lionel's stone. What would he say? Adrian didn't blink. Mission first. Protect the folks who can't. Families approached. Darius Johnson's mother hugged Stefan and sobbed thanks. Her son finally a person again, not a file closed with boilerplate. Terrence Brown's widow hugged Cole, promising college dreams for two kids funded by justice rather than condolence dinners. Marcus Talbot waited, quieter than the porch night. I replay those minutes, he told Adrian. Existing on a parcel almost cost my life. How's the air now? Adrian asked. Cleaner, Marcus said. Sold fair. Moved, sleeping longer, still angry. You shouldn't have to leave to be safe, Adrian said. No one should. Marcus nodded. Then keep going. We are, Adrian promised. Lionel didn't close a chapter. He opened a manual. They shook hands, a covenant written without paper or seals. Viper gathered one last time at the grave. Stone simple, inscription exact. Sergeant First Class Lionel Reeves, beloved brother, guardian of the innocent. What now? Stefan asked. Badges, Adrian said. Law. Same hearts. You think we'll matter? Quentin asked softly. He proved one life can reroute budgets, Adrian said, nodding toward Kenzie, tracing letters with a fingertip. Jordan's phone buzzed. 12 cities launching audits inspired by Milbrook. Families being heard, he said. Cole. Headlines turning into motions, then orders. Not sacrifice, Adrian corrected. Dividends. He touched the Medal of Honor, its icon etched shallow. He'd be proud we finished, and that we're starting again. They walked away designing process, intake triage, witness relocation templates, chain of custody redundancies, media cadence calibrated to evidence releases. Within weeks, appointment letters replaced invitations. The Federal Police Accountability Task Force stood up inside a secure DC hub. Field offices unfurled strategically. Their mission brief was simple. Anywhere furtive movement cloaked murder for profit, they'd arrive with warrants and well-lit rooms. Adrian, now special agent in charge, kept a barbecue snapshot on his desk, Lionel laughing with Kenzie on his shoulders. Not the formal portrait. Humanity mattered as compass. The origin scene, gas station coffee and gum, anchored the scope of what followed. The task force moved with the patience of engineers and the speed of medics. Warrants built brick on brick. Chains of custody braided tight. Narratives paced with public proof, not slogans. Police unions blustered. Good officers whispered coordinates and hope. 6 months etched success headlines. Chicago ring dismantled. Detroit consent decree signed. Memphis convictions. Phoenix property seizures. Houston forensic reforms. Baltimore indictments unsealed. Each represented one less neighborhood living inside someone else's spreadsheet projections. Their workspace thrummed. Analysts cross-labeled dispatch audio with mortgage records. Attorneys drafted bulletproof affidavits. Veterans translated patterns into ops. Whiteboards became mosaics of names turned accountable. Every malfunctioning body cam became an exhibit highlighting suspicious timing and repeat operators. Adrian ended most nights, promising Lionel's grin. We kept going, then returning to protocols. He believed institutions bend under pressure when protected witnesses exist and honest people inside feel shielded enough to speak. The blueprint repeated, refined, scaled, and the Brotherhood's purpose evolved. Revenge cooled into reform. They stopped leaving anyone behind, especially those buried under bureaucracy. Lionel accomplished the unlikely. He made a system stare at its reflection and choose to change rather than double down. Some stories don't stop. They shift mediums. This one became training modules, budget lines, auditor scripts, ordnance language. The fight would outlast them, but the method, evidence first, people protected, sunlight relentless, was carved into muscle memory nationwide. Crow tried being a prophet from a concrete cell, muttering about puppeteers. His words landed like dull cutlery, recorded, archived, irrelevant. His ledger did more damage than his mouth ever could. The machine began devouring its architects to save itself. In Milbrook, the rebuilt department recruited differently, trained longer, and listened harder. Street corners felt less watched and more seen. Candles melted into daytime community boards. Kids learned bike routes without memorizing survival choreography polished for dashcam optics. In section 60, grass thickened over fresh earth. Clarissa visited Saturdays, reading Kenzie a chapter from Lyon's favorite paperback. She placed fresh spearmint gum on the stone, a private ritual. He'd say, "Stop rushing," she told the wind. "We won't." Ellison's statewide unit grew teeth, anonymous portals, protected lines, fast subpoenas. She built a culture where patrol officers could report rot without sacrificing mortgages. "I took this badge to protect," she told new hires. "We protect from the inside, too." Agent Chen testified on the Hill with charts and quiet fury, explaining how development profits had been stapled to police violence until data and witnesses pried them apart. Legislation followed. Independent autopsies, forensic lab oversight, tamper-flagged body cam hardware by statute. Jordan trained city auditors to spot property flip patterns, reading municipalities like open files. Cole taught small-town IT to secure evidence servers properly. Javier ran witness safety workshops, normalizing relocation tools usually reserved for mafia cases now saving neighbors. Stefan lectured at medical schools on forensic integrity, how to write truth into reports when pressure leans hard. Quentin taught de-escalation to rookies, combat veterans, explaining how restraint isn't weakness, it's professional spine. Adrian spoke quietly about oaths and stubborn hope. The task force didn't win every case. Some cities lawyered up expertly, some judges stalled, but trends bent. Settlements contained accountability, not silence. Oversight carried bite. Newsrooms kept receipts hot. The old playbook, stall, smear, bury, stopped working as reliably. On a winter night, Adrian stood at a gas station counter on purpose, bought coffee and gum, and watched uneventful life resume around him. No one stared. The clerk smiled. He left, feeling something like a mission's midpoint rather than end. Back in D.C., the barbecue photo glowed beneath desk lamp shadows. "We're still on it," he told Lionel softly. "Your watch doesn't end here." The building hummed, printers, low voices, keyboards, an orchestra tuned for long fights and clean victories. Clarissa texted a picture. "Kenzie at a science fair, metal crooked. She misses him," the caption read. Adrian typed back, "We carry him." He meant it two ways, both heavy and light. Memory can be armor if you keep it well oiled. Internal dashboards showed leads multiplying because trust multiplied first. Honest cops called, scared clerks emailed, tired coroners whispered schedules. Badges stopped shivering automatically at sunlight. Departments learned to prefer fixable shame over rot metastasizing in silence and memo speak. Headlines kept arriving. Cleveland audit reveals ghost overtime. Newark reforms require external shooting reviews. Sacramento adopts independent chain for digital evidence, each a small gear engaging others. Big machines turn when enough teeth catch at once and grind stubbornly. In a morning briefing, a new file landed, another city's familiar shape. The map felt vast and strangely intimate now, like a neighborhood he knew by sound. Adrian looked around at his team, older by months, steadier by miles, and nodded forward. "We keep at it," he said. "Same calculus. Expose, protect, pressure." The room moved. Assignments split. Coffee warmed. Printers spit. Outside, a nation argued about everything and agreed on too little. Inside, they pursued a simple premise. No one buys coffee scared. Before one long day began, Adrian sent a final text to Clarissa. He changed more than streets. He pocketed the phone and reached for the next binder. Missions end, missions begin. The trick is never confusing pause with finish lines. Some endings invite action. If this story sparked something, join the work. Read, vote, witness, file, testify. Subscribe if you want more truth told like this, not to chase clicks, but to keep memory loud enough to rearrange power.